What's poppin', everybody? SidRolf94 bringing you guys Pokemon sets from past formats, and today we have the fifth set of the EX series, one of my favorite sets of all time, and that is EX Hidden Legends. Now, I really love all of the EX sets, and it's tough to decide on a few favorites, but I know this one makes the list of favorites for sure, easily, and is one of my favorites for a number of reasons, plenty of reasons actually. For one, an EX Hidden Legends booster box display looks freaking awesome. A lot of the other booster box displays like Emerald and Deoxys, and I can't think of any of the other ones, but all of them, Team Magma, EX Team Magma versus Team Magma, they look great. But EX Hidden Legends definitely looks one of the best, super cool, with the Regirock, the art, the concept art on those cards, and the box booster art. It's just super fly. It's very unique, super cool. And that's actually one of the themes of this set, EX Hidden Legends, is that it features the Reggie Trio, Hidden Legends and shit, quite appropriate. It features Metagross, a bunch of Steel Pokemon, these sorts of Pokemon, and it basically features Steven, is the introduction of Steven in the TCG, and this is my favorite supporter card. We're going to look at it later. I want to start from the top actually this time, talk about the holos because the holos in this set are pretty interesting. But other things, kind of for trivia, this set is like the first set uh, to include the dual Pokemon that are double type. That are not owners Pokemon like the Team Aqua Pokemon. So for example, you guys are going to see we've got some Metagross that it's Psychic and Metal. You've got some other uh, dual type Pokemon like that in here. From what I remember, the X's are super cool. Got some great secret rares. But yeah, these are some of the reasons. Steven's advice, having a lot of my favorite cards in here too. Pokemon and the art on the cards as well. And when EX and Legends was released, it featured the last third generation holo Pokemon that needed to be introduced for the first time. So this kind of is like when base set Fossil and Jungle got released and all the 150 original Pokemon got represented. This kind of rounds up the Hoenn Pokemon. But anyway, let's start with the rare holos. And I'm going to start right from the top because a lot of them are very interesting, kind of cool. So we have Benetti here. Looks kind of nice as a holo. Got a 70 HP, only 1 retreat, and a fighting resistance. So its stats are kind of okay. 7 HP is not so bad for back then. Would have been better if it was 80, but it's got some nice attacks. Both attacks are kind of interesting. You got Shadow Steel. For 1 Psychic Energy, it does 10 damage plus 20 more damage for each special energy card in your opponent's discard pile. So special energies were at their craziest in the Golden Age, 3rd generation. We had Boost Energy, we had Scramble Energy, all sorts of Rainbow Energies, and Special Metal Energy, Special Darkness Energy, of course, were big. And all the other types of special energies, there were numerous special energies, and they were played a lot. There wasn't really any way to remove them like Enhance Hammer and shit. Of course, we had Energy Removal 2 that eventually got introduced, but that's like a Crushing Hammer. There was no instant removal like Enhance Hammer, at least for what I believe, or Lost Remover, I guess, if that's the original card. But it has a cap. The cap is, I think, no, it doesn't have a cap actually. It's the second attack that has a cap. So my mistake. So if your opponent has a bunch of special energies, it's gonna do a lot of damage, man. So just let's say with 2, it does 50 for 1, and that's already very, very good, very, very powerful. So that's quite impressive. They had a couple of them over there. This was a very strong attacker for 1 energy, Benetti. Benetti X kind of functioned like this, a fast stage 1 Pokemon that did a lot of damage. And this one kind of does this as well. And Darkness Chant, this is the card that has the kind of cap here. And this one has, you count the number of basic Pokemon or evolution cards in your discard pile. Yeah, put that many damage counters on defending Pokemon, and you can't put more than 6 damage counters this way. So if you have a lot of Pokemon in the discard pile, you get to put damage counters basically. basic Pokemon and evolutions, so all Pokemon basically. And this is pretty good. I mean, the cap is 6 damage counters, so it's 60. But, 60 for 2 is still pretty good. I mean, maybe your main attack is going to be Shadow Steel, but you have two options for solid attacks that, it's damage. It's more damage for, let's say, Pokemon with Discord Power or your opponent's special energies. So very, very good Pokemon for sure. I mean, let me see. Can you actually, the defending Pokemon, okay, so you can't spread it around, but it's still great. So already a very good holo Pokemon here, the first from the set, Benetti. Next up, Claydol, and this guy's pretty interesting too. Looks very awesome. 80 HP, 1 retreat, no resistance, and it does Primal Pull. As long as Claydol is your active Pokemon, each player's evolved Pokemon pays 1 more colorless energy to use its attacks. So basically, evolved Pokemon kind of hate disruption, if you want to call it that. Most of the best Pokemon people use were evolved Pokemon, so your opponent, they were going to need to pay 1 more energy, 1 more colorless energy to use the attack. So it's a very useful body to have. So already another strong uh, holo card from this set. Very, very good. And Muddy Eye is a solid attack. It does 10 damage for each number of energy attached to Claydol and the defending Pokemon. So kind of like the Energy Ball from Mewtwo EX. You guys are probably familiar. Evil Ball, X Ball, yeah, Evil Ball, and the attack from Carnivore GX. This type of attack that it gets stronger the more energies you and your opponent has on their active Pokemon. And at times 10 multiplier might seem not so much, but this is a stage 1 Pokemon. This is way, way back in the day. It's still kind of good. It means that if your opponent, let's say, has 3 energies on, you're gonna do 40 damage for 1, I suppose. So that's alright. Fucking hell, man. Motorcycles and shit. Anyway, it's summer, so I have my shit open. But anyway, yeah, muddy eye, not muddy water. It's a good attack. If they have more energies, if you have more energy too, like if you have 2, your opponent has 3, you're doing 50 for 2. That's okay, I guess, as well. But at least it functions on 1 energy. You've got the body too. So Claydol, nice little Pokemon as well. Next up we have Crobat. Very, very nice as well. It's grass because, like I've said before, in that era, before the Diamond and Pearl era, poison Pokemon were grass Pokemon as well. So this is why it's grass. So 90 HP, it's not really the greatest. I wish it had at least 100, let's say, but I guess we're going to have to deal with that. It has Fear Retreat, of course, since it's Crobat, so that's why it kind of has lower HP, but I think 100 would have been better. But anyway, it's got 2 attacks. You got Flutter Trick, flip a coin. If heads, look at your opponent's hand, choose a card. Your opponent's discard the card you chose. And it's going to do 20 for 1. So I guess if you flip heads, you look at your opponent's hands and choose it, and you get to choose which card you want to discard. So it's a strong disruption discarding effect if you get heads. Other than that, 1 for 20, not bad, I guess. And triple poison is probably your main attack. It's kind of like the Crobat's Prime attack, the original version, you could say. A lot weaker, of course, but a much older card than Crobat Prime. You do 10 damage for 2, but the defending Pokemon is poisoned, and you put 3 damage counters instead of 1. So basically what this means is that you're going to do 40 for 2, and if your opponent keeps the Pokemon active, doesn't retreat it, by the end of their turn, you've done 30 more damage, so that's basically 70 for 2. And that's not bad, and by the end of your turn, you're going to do even more damage. So it becomes quite strong. Now, of course, if they retreat the Pokemon, then you didn't do much, only 40. If they keep it though, the damage goes from not so good to amazing. So that's the thing. Maybe you want to use this with some hard retreating strategies and shit, and then you can do a lot of damage. But triple poison, kind of a trademark attack for Crobat, I suppose, at this point. It has like the cross poison in the games too and shit. So shit like that. Okay, another decent Pokemon. Then we have Dark Celebi. So yeah, this set included a Dark Pokemon too. I think it's only this card, Dark Celebi, but yeah, A very special set, EX and Legends. Underappreciated from the EX sets, if you ask me. Kind of like the Great Encounters one. I think it is like it's the 5th set, not 4th set. But DP had fewer sets than the EX era. But yeah, it has a lot of good shit in it. A lot of covers a lot of ground. So Dark Celebi, 70 HP basic Pokemon. It does dark provide, attach a grass or darkness energy from your hand to your Pokemon, and leaf poison. The defending Pokemon is not poisoned. You do 20. It's not the greatest, but since it is a dual type Pokemon, it's dual grass dark. I guess since it's a dark Celebi, so you can actually attach special dark energy on this Pokemon and get the extra damage. So leaf poison if you have a darkness energy on. Special dark was the only there weren't no basic darkness and metal energies back then. You're going to do 30 and poison, so I guess that's 40 for 2. And you cover more ground maybe since this is dual dark grass. But yeah, our first dual Pokemon here. Very, very interesting. So this was even before the Team Rocket, the EX Team Rocket set, if you think about it, when you really think about it. And it comes from the theme deck too. It looks really awesome here. Very, very nice. Cool shit. I wish I'd gotten them, man. Sad. Anyway, next up, Electrode, another nice looking holo. Covered this card in my Electrode TCG overview. Good times. And this Pokemon is pretty neat as well, being a Pokemon that can do really solid damage for 1 energy, doing a 1 for 30. Now you can't hit anything for weakness, which kind of sucks, but you don't care about resistance, Pokebodies, Pokepowers, any other effects basically. So I guess it's not all bad. And doing a 1 for 30, you didn't see that all the time. Pokemon didn't really do this unless they had some sort of effect like the Benetti we saw earlier, where it basically they do like 10 damage or something or no damage, and you multiply it, and then you can do a lot of damage for 1 energy. But for straight damage, you didn't really see a lot of Pokemon doing, let's say 30, at least from my experience. Stage 1s anyway, and basic Pokemon. And Mass Destruction is also a pretty solid attack. You basically knock yourself out, but you knock your opponents out as well. And you can't use it if it has a special energy on, so you can't just attach a boost energy or scramble energy and do this shit. I'm not sure if scramble energy works on this Pokemon. I don't remember exactly the effect, but boost energy, I believe it works, or maybe I mixed the two of them up. But nevertheless, special energies won't work on this Pokemon. So you want to put a double energy on to do the attack kind of quicker, like attaching a DC, it's not going to work. But if you do slowly power it up and do this, especially on the X Pokemon, it doesn't even have to be like a stage 1, a stage 2, I mean a regular stage 2. The sort of reward is kind of good. They get 1 prize, but you get 2 prizes. And you do die on your own turn, so that kind of sucks. But sometimes, I mean, it's not that bad of an attack. I can see it being kind of useful in situations, maybe to finish the game off easily against the big Stage 2 EX Pokemon. It really isn't that bad. I mean, you can force a draw with this effect as well, but it's pretty nice, pretty nice. An instant knockout, for Stage 1, 3 energy attack is kind of fair. Works with any energy too. So this can be kind of like a tech if you want to use it. Okay, so this is Electrode as well. Next up, we got Exploud here. So more trivia. This was the first card from this first set that has 4 attacks. Later on, there's a Tyranitar EX that actually has 4 attacks as well. And I don't think there's very many Pokemon that had 4 attacks in this era. It's the only era that features this Pokemon having 4 attacks. And there's only a couple of Pokemon. So Exploud here, having 4 freaking attacks, like I said. You got Break and Sound, it does 10 damage for each of your opponent's Pokemon, to each of your opponent's Pokemon, yeah. So a nice little spreading attack, base control, 30 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. So a little snipe here. And Thunderous Roar, you do 3 for 30. That's not that good, but Instant Confusion as well. And Hyper Voice, you do 4 for 60, and that's not the greatest either, but it's colorless, it's all colorless, so it works with any energy. And you have this kind of thing where You can use the first attack, then next turn attach an energy, use the second attack. You go upwards, like Lucario EX when it was released in Furious Fists, kind of thing. So, it's a flexible Pokemon. You can start attacking early, then go to the next attack, go to the next attack, kind of thing. So it's good. Good little Pokemon. Maybe the attacks aren't the greatest. Break and Sand is kind of nice, I think. And Bass Control maybe not so much, but I guess it's okay for a 2 energy attack maybe. Alright, X-Plot. Okay, next up, what are we going to talk about? I don't think I want to talk about Heracross. I definitely want to talk about Jirachi and the other guys though. So Make a Wish. This is also from the theme decks. And it is a Psychic Metal Pokemon, dual Pokemon, and it's not dark. So yeah, pretty cool. You search your deck for a card that evolves from one of your Pokemon, and you put it onto that Pokemon. And then you evolve the dude, and put a damage card on Jirachi. So kind of nice. The Jirachi from EX Deoxys was the main support Pokemon people used, and expert players are going to agree it was the best one. At least that's what that's what Jason Klasinski is saying. And Mind Bend, you do 30 for 2, and with a chance of confusion. So decent little support Pokemon. Doesn't have a resistance, kind of sad since it's metal, but it is what it is. Now, Machamp and Medicham I definitely want to talk about. So this is another very cool card, this Machamp. Cool looking holo. I own this card as well. And it has Overzealous. If your opponent has any Pokemon EX in play, each of Machamp's attacks do 30 more damage. Now that's quite powerful because its attacks already do pretty solid damage if you ask me. You do Brick Smash for 2 energies. It does 40 damage. It won't be affected by weakness once again, but it won't be affected by any other effects on the Pokemon too. So if there's an EX Pokemon, it doesn't have to be active. Your opponent just needs to have one out. You're going to do 70 for 2. So that's pretty good, not bad. And then Cross Chop, you do 60 for 3. And you flip a coin. If heads, you do 30 more. So if you get the coin flip heads, it's 90. It's actually for 4, 60 for 4, not 3. Yeah, error here on Cerebeam. But if you get the heads, 90 for 4 perhaps isn't that bad. The good thing is that you have to get the Overzealous. If you get the Overzealous body, then it becomes a solid attack, doing 90 for 4, and then you can even do 120. So not a bad Pokemon at all. Good Machamp card for sure. The second attack might be better actually. You don't hit for weakness, but doing solid 70 for 2 if your opponent has a Pokemon EX out and you don't care about any other effects and stuff, can be pretty nice. There's a lot of Pokemon during the era that resist fighting as well, from what I think at least. So it's nice to not care about resistance and the other effects either. Nice little Pokemon Machamp. Its stats are solid too, 120 HP. Doesn't get any better than that. Alright, and then Medicham. Very fly looking card as well. Nice looking holo. It's got Meditate, does 20 damage, plus 10 more damage for each damage corner of the defending Pokemon. So, we've seen this attack before, of course. If your opponent's Pokemon has a few damage counters on it, you do a lot more damage. Very nice. There's no limit. And there's no limit for the second attack either. Chakra Points. Wow, cool name. You do 10 damage, and you do 10 more damage for each card in your opponent's hand. So usually there's limits in these types of attacks, so there's no limit in this case. And back in the day, we would have big hands with great ability to draw Pokemon and good supporters. We could draw a good number of cards. I mean, even if you have like 5, what is it going to do? Okay, it only does 60, so that's not great. But I guess if you have 6 or 7, then it becomes 70, 84, 3, and that's very good. That's kind of good. Very nice little Pokemon as well. I like it. Looking pretty fly too. Excellent looking Medicham card. Awesome. And then, wow, we're going to have our Metagross. So this Metagross card is it's so iconic for me. I own this card. I had a wallpaper for years on my XP PC with the art for this Metagross. It's super cool. Psychic Metal Pokemon, dual type Pokemon. And 100 HP isn't the greatest. and it has a double retreat cost too, but at least it has a resistance to psychic. And let's check out the rest of the card. It might be good from not really. I don't really remember, so let's find out. Metal Juncture. As often as you like during your turn, you may move a metal energy card attached to one of your bench Pokemon to your active Pokemon. Right, so yeah, now I remember. It does indeed have this. So this is definitely a useful power. You can do this as often as you like, unlike other cards from this era. But it is the move energy around shit. So it's only metal energy, and we only could run 4 special metal energy. But you can also move around rainbow energies and shit, since that counts as well. So maybe you can do some combos and shit. But moving energies around is definitely useful. You can obviously move energies around to another Pokemon, then use Briney's Compassion, which is basically like a scoop up supporter. Do these fancy combos even back then. And squared attack, you flip 4 coins. It's going to do 30 damage for each heads. So for 3 energy, I guess on average you're going to do 60 for 3. That's not that good. If you get 3 heads, you do 90. If you get 4, you do 120, and that's good. So the attack isn't the greatest. But this is mainly as a support Pokemon for Metal Juncture. I mean, I guess if you attack with it, it's not like it's the worst attacker either. If you do 60 for 3, it's not like it's shit damage. But yeah, nice little Pokemon. The art is the best thing and the holographic technology on it, rather than the uh, competitiveness of the card itself. But the power is good. Okay, so I guess I'm going to skip Pinsir too. I want to talk about this guy. I talked about this Pokemon in my Shiftry TCG overview as well. It's a nice little Pokemon with push aside. Look at your opponent's hand, choose a basic Pokemon Evolution card, and you put it at the bottom of the deck. And Supernatural Power. If you got the same cards as your opponent hand, you both have the same cards, it does 80 for 3 as opposed to 40. So nice little shifty card. Since it's darkness, put special darks, you get even stronger. The stats are decent. Psychic resistance works with any energy, supernatural power, so it's a pretty nice little Pokemon. I don't want to waste too much time on it since I've talked a lot of these Pokemon in my TCG overview. Don't want to take uh, too much time for the stage 2, so I think I'm taking my time here. But I really want to cover them since I think they're really cool in this set. We have to cover the main shits as well, though. So Walrein, fly looking card too. Own this as well. So it has Crush Draw. Once during your turn, you may reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a basic energy card, attach it to your Pokemon. If not, you put the card back on your deck, and I think you shuffle your deck. No, you don't actually shuffle it. You don't put it at the bottom. Not bad. Or maybe they errated it. I don't know. But you don't discard it like Salamence from Arceus, so this is much better for sure. Which makes that Salamence look even shittier. But anyway. And Sure Cold, you do 50 for 3. Heads, if any Pokemon can attack. Okay, not bad. I guess if you get the heads. So, man, I have to cover these guys too. Gorebyss and Huntail. So these, I believe, they're regular rares. They're not holo rares. If it shows us the card, they look really, really beautiful. Come on, show them to me, please. But it's got 2 attacks. You do Stun Needle, you flip a coin. If heads, if any Pokemon is paralyzed, okay. And Mystic Water, you do 20 for 2. And if this Pokemon uh, does 20 damage plus 10 more damage for each Psychic Energy in play. So Gorebyss and Huntail kind of do this. I think they've done this in the DP era too, and they might have done this in the Primal Clash sets. I'm not sure. Where if you have Darkness Energy on Huntail, it does some extra damage or has an effect. And if you have Psychic on this, it does some funky shit as well. So it seems it's not going to show us the card. Damn it. So let's go back. Let's try Huntail. Are you going to show me? Okay, so it shows me. Looks pretty fly, deep underwater Pokemon. Very, very cool. The memories, man. The dive memories. But this guy does bite. Just 20 for 2 damage attack. No tricks, no bullshit. And Dark Splash, 40 for 3. And 10 more damage for each Darkness Pokemon in play. Wow, so if you have a bunch of Darkness Pokemon, it becomes quite strong. So if you have, let's say, 5 Darkness Pokemon and this guy active, you're gonna do 90 for 3. Not bad. You probably won't, but I guess if you do something like 80, 70 for 3, it's not bad perhaps. Okay, let's try Gorobis again, just if you're gonna show me. Yeah, you're showing me the cards. Yeah, it does it for Psychic Energies. So this card looks very beautiful too. Very, very nice. Love them. Okay, so there's a bunch of other cards, but I think I should probably head to the main shit. Don't want this to uh, last too long. I want this to be like 30 minutes and shit. The TCG overviews for these classic sets. But I mean, look at this. We've got the Ancient Technical Machines too. These were competitive cards as well. You know, you got the Ice Machine, Rock Machine, and Steel Machine for the Regi Trio. So attach this one of your evolved Pokemon, excluding Pokemon EX, and a Pokemon that has an owner in its name, and a Pokemon that can use the attack on this TM. You get Ice Generator. Discard all of your opponent's trainer cards in play. If you do, prevent all effects, including damage done to the Pokemon, using this attack during your opponent's next turn. So you can discard your opponent's stadiums, I guess, tools and shit, and yeah, other TMs, stuff like that. I think stadiums do count as trainers as well. I could be wrong, but yeah, the rules are kind of different for every generation. DP, they were kind of different too. Now they're kind of different. But I believe you would discard stadiums too, and then you're immune for next turn your active Pokemon. So kind of nice. I think the Rock or Steel one were the really competitive ones. Let's find out. So the Rock one, Stone Generator. If your opponent has any evolved Pokemon, remove the highest stage evolution from each of them and put those cards back in the hand. So an Espeon EX kind of attack, devolving attack here. Not bad. And Steel Generator. If the defending Pokemon has a Pokepower or Pokebody, choose up to 2 basic energies attached to one of your opponent's Pokemon and attach them to the defending Pokemon. Uh, Interesting. So I guess you move energies from one of your opponent's Pokemon to another one. So one of these, or maybe all of them are kind of useful, was in a World Championship deck, I'm pretty sure. Next up, we got 3 awesome looking stadiums here. You got Ancient Tomb. This is for Registo here. Awesome. Don't apply weakness for all Pokemon in play, excluding Pokemon EX and Pokemon with an owner in their name. Sweet. Next up, we got Desert Ruins. This is obviously for Regirock. At any time between turns, each player puts 1 damage card on his or her Pokemon EX with a maximum HP of at least 100. So, man, it's even sadder for the basic EXs. But anyway, it is what it is. So, EX Pokemon Hate and Island Cave for Regis, of course. Looking super fly as well. Whenever any player attaches an energy card from his or her hand to water, fighting, or metal Pokemon, remove special conditions. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Okay. So, Steven's advice, since we've come to it, let me talk about this. The effect is very good. It's not like it's the greatest supporter of all time, but it was a playable supporter for sure. But I just really like it because it's Steven, my favorite character of Pokemon, probably. So you draw a number of cards up to the number of your opponent's Pokemon in play. If you have 7 or more cards, including this one, you can't play this card. So basically, you could play this when you have at least 6 cards. You can play it, yeah. And you were going to draw a lot of cards up to the number of your opponent's Pokemon in play. So if they just have like 3 or 4, you're getting your worth out of this card because there were not really any straight draw 3 supporters in EX era and DP era. In black and white, we got Sharon, which was just a straight 3. But before that, if they would allow you to draw 3, they had some sort of cost. You discard a card, or your opponent draws a card, or you put a card from your hand to the deck, back in the deck, shit like this. And it's great because you can actually go over this too, drawing 4 cards, 5 cards. Man, you could even draw 6 cards if they had like a full bench. So awesome looking card, Steven card. Got reprinted in EX Power Keepers. That's the version that I own. I think I got this as well, maybe, but yeah, cool shit. And Magnetic Storm, let's talk about this too. Any damage done to attacks from Psychic and Fighting Pokemon not affected by resistance. Okay, I think I've seen this before in DP. Alright, so I think it's about time we cover the EX Pokemon and just wrap this up. So this set, of course, it includes the first Groudon EX and Kyogre EX. I think it includes the first just Kyogre and Groudon cards in general. Maybe there's somewhere over here as rares. Not sure. Let's see. Interesting. I don't think so. But you definitely get this secret rare Groudon. I think it's the only secret rare from this set. And maybe fucking Wigglytuff. No, it's not Wigglytuff. It's just this guy. So you do Mutt Shot, 20 for 2. And then Earthquake. It does 60 for 4. And does 10 damage to each of your bench Pokemon. Okay, I guess it makes sense as a basic Pokemon. Alright. So let's talk about the EXs. Groudon EX and Kyogre EX, the first EXs for these Pokemon. So Mark of Antiquity, yeah, they all have this. I think Kyogre EX has this as well, the same body. As long as this guy is active, each player's Kyogre EX and Rayquaza EX, they can attack. So they basically stun, block each other. That's it. Okay. Next up, we got Rock Tumble. This attack's damage is not affected by resistance, so just 30 for 2, not affected by resistance. Okay. And then Crushing Mantle. You may discard from your hand as many energy cards as you like, and it's going to do 50 plus 10 more damage for each energy card you discarded. So you have the ability to do mass damage with this. Of course, it won't be easy. You're going to have to discard a bunch of energies. Now, of course, we did get the Magneton from EX-Track, and it lets you grab energies from the discard pile back to the hand in the same way that Starmie does from Evolutions. So I guess if you do this, you discard 2. You can do 70 for 3. Yeah, I guess it's okay. It's not the greatest, but basic X, I suppose. You're going to have to discard a lot more if you're going to make it really worthwhile. Have an easy way to grab energies and discard them. I suppose, I mean, you can't have more than one Magneton down and grab energies like that. It's not an easy combo maybe, but it seems like a fun strategy for me actually. You know, if you discard, let's say 4 energies, you can do 90 for 3. That's not bad. Not bad at all. Fly. I think I like the other Groudon EXs and Kyogre EXs that got released in Crystal Guardians, I believe. But these guys are pretty awesome too. I think the Kyogre here looks better than the Groudon EX here, but both of them, of course, look great. So Mark of Antiquity, the same basic effect. And you got Water Arrow on this dude. You do 20 for 2, but you can snipe with this attack as well. And Super Tidal Wave, you may show your hand to your opponent. If you do, this attack does 50 damage plus 10 more damage for each energy in your hand. After doing damage, shuffle the energy cards back into your deck. Okay, so this is an interesting effect because you don't discard the energies, but you do put them back on the deck, and that might actually be even worse. Sometimes it helps to its recovery, I guess, but since you already have them in the hand, it's not great. It's not like you get them back from the discard pile and they go back to the deck. But it sucks because you have to show your entire hand to your opponent, not just the energies. So yeah, I think this might even be lamer. But the same kind of concept. If you reveal a lot of energies, show a lot of energies, and they go back in the deck, you're going to do a lot more damage. Okay. So, interesting EX Pokemon. Obviously, they don't suck as much as the ones that are from the first Ruby set, Ruby and Sapphire EX set. But you can see they're not the greatest. They're not like maybe Rayquaza EX. Anyway, Metagross EX. So this is the first and original Metagross EX. We only got another one from EX Power Keepers. This one looks Much better if you ask me, but I think it might be worse than the EX Power Keepers one. You can do Metal Reversal. Before doing damage, you may choose one of your opponent's bench Pokemon and switch it with the defending Pokemon. And this attack does 40 damage to new Pokemon. So you don't necessarily pull, your opponent gets to choose. And that kind of sucks. You should have been able to pull if you ask me, since it doesn't do that insane damage, and this is an EX Pokemon. So you should have been able to pull, so that's bad. But your opponent, you can force your opponent to switch anyway. Okay, and extra Comet Punch, you do 50 for 4, and next turn, it's going to do 50 more. So basically from next turn onwards, for as long as you survive, if you use extra Comet Punch, you do 100 for 4. I guess it's alright. So on average, you're going to do, let's say on your second turn, if you do this, 150, 150, like around 70, 80. It's just okay. You're going to have to survive for a couple of turns to really make this worthwhile. I suppose since this is a metal Pokemon, if you have a bunch of special metals, which you're going to have to attack with him, it can tank. It can be a solid tank. It's going to survive. But at the same time, it has a double weakness too, fire and fighting, and that sucks. Uh, it's cooler than it is good, I have to say that, but it's not entirely useless. Okay, Ninetales EX is next. So Ninetales EX, very, very cool, looking really good. Intense Glare, you switch one of your opponent's bench Pokemon with one of the defending Pokemon. So your opponent chooses the defending Pokemon to switch. Okay, interesting. So same idea, you force your opponent to switch, but you don't get to pick the Pokemon to pull. And the new defending Pokemon is burned and confused. It might be not bad, I guess, if you choose oh no, actually you can't choose. But yeah, if I guess they bring out a Pokemon with a Pokepower, they can't use it, but are they gonna be that stupid? I don't think so. It's sad that you can't choose, so, you know, even though it's a double status, it's not the best. A double status is good, but I mean, you don't get to choose, so who knows. And Fire Blast, this is definitely a good attack. You do 100 for 4, and you only discard one Fire Energy attached to Ninetales EX. Now, obviously, Blaziken can be a partner, Fire Starter. There's so many Pokemon that you compare that Pokemon with. Uh, just from the first set, we had Camerupt, then Macargo EX, or Quasi EX from the same set. You have other Pokemon like Blaziken EX that got released, of course. He was the best one. But you can even use this Pokemon, I guess. Now, the sad thing is that since this is a Stage 1 EX Pokemon, your 90 HP is pretty terrible. I wish it had at least Free Retreat. It's not high at all, man, at 90. It really isn't. And, I mean, I guess 100 for 4 is a good attack. You only discard 1 energy. But since you can use Fire Starter and grab a couple, it's not necessarily that. I don't know. It's cool. It can be a partner to Blaziken, but it's not the best partner for it for a couple of reasons. They just, it doesn't, they, it doesn't complement Blaziken as well as the other Pokemon since, okay, it does 100, you only discard 1, but you should have a couple of Blazikens so you're going to grab a bunch more cards. So I'd rather it maybe do more damage, discard more cards, or have better stats, and discard more energies maybe. But who knows, maybe only discarding 1 can be nice for you guys. Solid card as well, but yeah, not the greatest. And then we've got Regice, Regirock, and Registeel EX. You got Regice EX, Fly. I believe these are actually secret rares. Fucking cars, man. Anyway, Crystal Body. Prevent all effects of attacks except damage done to Regice by the attacking Pokemon. Okay, so only damage, no effect bullshit on this dude. And you do Freeze Lock, flip a coin. If heads, your opponent can attach energies from his or her hand to the defending Pokemon. So 60 for 3, okay. If you get heads, the effect can be kind of powerful disruption effect. It's the HP that kills it again. Basic Pokemon, even though it's an EX, it's not super fly, just getting extra 20 maybe. And yeah, these cards might be, they don't go over the 101 like Groudon, but maybe they're kind of like secrets. I don't know. Maybe they're rarer than these other ones because they kind of feature different holographic technology. Okay, so Regirock EX, this guy's definitely better with healing stone at any time between turns. Remove 1 damage counter for Regirock EX. It also has more HP, 100 HP, and has bigger retreat cost, but it doesn't really matter. 2 from 3. You're still gonna prefer to use a switch on this Pokemon, on these Pokemon. And Tone Edge, you may do 60 damage plus 20 more damage, and if you do, uh, it does 30 damage to itself. So it's a lot. It's a lot of self hit damage that you do yourself. So I don't really like it that much. It should have been like 20 or 10, honestly, to be honest. Maybe 10 is too little. 20 I think is right. 30 is too much to do just 20 more damage, actually. So I don't know, but I guess there's some sort of synergy with healing stone. Alright. And then we got Registeel EX, Exoskeleton. This guy has 90 HP too, grass resistance, and the same retreat cost as Regice. This guy blocks damage. And Steel Wave does 20 damage to each of your bench Pokemon of the same type as the defending Pokemon. So this guy might actually have the best attack. Even if they just have one Pokemon, that's 70 with the 20 extra with the spread. And if they have more of the same type, it gets better from here. So this guy might be the best maybe, but they're meh. All of the X Pokemon are kind of meh so far, honestly. Maybe Groudon can have potential with Magneton, make a fun deck. Kyogre X I'm not sure how to use. So now for the good guys. Vileplume EX might be the best Pokemon EX from this set, actually. Surprise, surprise, whether you believe it or not. So, block Dust. As long as Vileplume EX is active, your opponent can't play trainer cards, except from supporter cards. So Jason Klaczynski has a deck with this Pokemon too. It needs to be active, but, it's a lock deck, basically. You can't play stadiums, can't play trainer cards. Only supporter cards. 140 HP is not that bad when you have a powerful lock body like this. And a special formula, you do 50 for 3 and you flip a coin. Heads, defending Pokemon is asleep and poisoned. If tails, defending Pokemon is confused. So you always get, you always get status no matter what you flip, which is something that I like. Vileplume has this sort of thing a lot, I think. Heads might be the better thing, get sleep and poison, but confuse can be handy too, I guess. 50 isn't that great, but when you have a very early lock against your opponent, then this mediocre attack can become even deadlier. So yeah, I know that he has a deck in his articles. You can check it out if you're interested. And then Wigglytuff EX. I think this Pokemon is, yeah, it has Do the Wave like the one in, what was it, Jungle, Fossil, I don't remember, but from the Wizard's days. And Do the Wave for 3 energies. You do 30 plus 10 more damage for each of your bench Pokemon. So I guess if you have 5, you do 80 for 3. Works with any energy, but it's not so good, man. Should have done a little bit more. It should have been for all of your Pokemon. I mean, I guess it was going to do 90 then. That's not that great either, but maybe do less base damage and do times 20. Maybe that would have gotten broken. I don't know, but it basically maxes out as 80. There's no sky field and shit like that, and that's just okay. And Sleepy Song, you put your opponent's Pokemon to sleep. If it's a double battle with 2 defending Pokemon, you put both of them to sleep. So solid, I guess, for 30. And that's basically the set, guys. I don't want to look at any of the other cards. There's a lot of interesting cards, of course, maybe the regular rares and stuff, but people are yelling outside too. I don't know if you can hear that, so I kind of get stressed recording the video like this, hoping it's of good quality, like you don't hear the motherfuckers in the background. But nevertheless, actually, no, fuck. We missed out on Melodic. Yeah, I have to talk about Melodic. I think this was the first set of Melodic. Very, very beautiful. So Healing Shower. Once during your turn when you play Melodic, you remove all damage counters from all of your Pokemon. Ooh, Super Fly. Uh, from all of your Pokemon and your opponent's Pokemon. Okay, so helps them out. But if you're losing, you didn't do shit and then you play this, it's like you kind of reset the game. So maybe not bad. Wave Splash, just 3 for 2, 30 for 2. And Distorted Wave, you do 80 for 4. And before doing damage, remove 3 damage counters from the defending Pokemon. So I guess you're gonna do 80 the first time if they're clean. And from there, it kind of does like 50. Okay, but yeah, I know this kind of effect. I remember it on this card. Other cards do this too. Other Milotic cards maybe as well. Anyway, I think I covered most of the interesting cards. EX and Legends. It's not the greatest set of all, obviously. There's a lot of EX sets maybe that are more broken, of course, naturally. The EX sets, as we've saw, aren't that broken. Let's look at Relicanth too, actually. Where were you? I just saw you. Yeah, it must do something with, let's see, Deep Sleep. Wow, the concept art is awesome. The art is awesome, not concept art. But as long as Relicanth is active, a player flips 2 coins for each of your Pokemon that is asleep. And if both of them, if either is tails, they stay asleep. So some Darkrai shit here. And Yawn, a sleeping attack if you get heads. Interesting. Deep Sleep. Relicanth shit. But anyway, uh, things like Delta Species, maybe Dragon Frontiers, another set like that are probably more powerful because they're newer too, I guess. And, it's not necessarily like it had killer attacking Pokemon like Dragon had Rayquaza EX, Blaziken EX, and Team Magma versus Team Aqua, and Gardevoir in Sandstorm, but, it has a bunch of interesting rare holo Pokemon. They're much better than the EXs probably for the trade of 2 prizes. But they're interesting. I mean, Vileplume EX was definitely playable. This guy might be good. These guys, it's not like they're completely useless. But yeah, maybe it doesn't have the best EXs compared to having a top sort of EX, I guess, trademark EX, like the previous sets. It's got a bunch of them that are meh. But if you think about it, the other sets had a lot of EXs that are kind of meh too. Groudon EX might not be bad though. But anyways, guys, EX Hidden Legends, even though it's not objectively the strongest set of all time, it's still one of my favorites for the art of the cards. A lot of the cards in here. It doesn't have to be the best to be a favorite of me, of course. Very, very nice set. I wish I owned a booster box of this. I opened it. Ah, man. Great. I want to make a joke now, but yeah, I just don't want to overdo it with the sex jokes here. But anyway, okay. So hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys subscribe. Leave a like. Share this with your friends. Say Bro94. What's up?